Okay, we're going to start by creating a video with Windows Movie Maker. And the reason I've selected this piece of software is because it is free and preloaded on almost every PC computer. So with that said, I have kind of this love-hate relationship with this program because sometimes it works great and sometimes it locks up, it freezes, and it always seems to be right when people are up against a deadline and they are trying to get something done. So we'll use Windows Movie Maker, but you might have another piece of software. What you will find is you'll be very surprised at how similar each of these pieces of software is. Some are much easier to use than others. But I'm going to try to walk you through some of the tips and tricks so you won't be one of those people that gets close to deadline and you start crying because you're so frustrated. So let's just take a look at this. On the left, those are called the tasks. If you don't see your tasks, you just need to go up under View and show the tasks. What's down across the bottom is your timeline. Sometimes it's called storyboard. You might see boxes on your bottom, and just click where it says show storyboard and it will toggle between the two views. I prefer this view when I'm actually creating. Over to the right, that's the window that will show the transitions and any text that you add to a slide and so on. In the middle, that is empty right now, is where all of the puzzle pieces are going to be. That's what I'll continue to come back to and talk about. It's all about putting the puzzle pieces together and slicing and dicing to make exactly what you want. First thing you do is import a file. And we're going to stop right here. This is the most important thing about this entire module. Everything that's going to go into this movie has to be in one folder. One folder, not a little over here, little in my pictures, little in my music. No, it all has to go in one folder. I would definitely say that's the biggest mistake people do when they use Windows Movie Maker. So don't make the mistake. And so everything's in one folder, and then you can go out and import. Instead of bringing each picture by itself, you can press the Control and the A to select all, and then hit import once. They will all come in. Don't take time to organize them over in your folder before you bring them in. You're going to do your organizing within Windows Movie Maker. So I imported the sample pictures, you can tell. So I imported 4 pictures. So those are 4 of my puzzle pieces are right here. Now, when you go to bring in a movie, very often Windows Movie Maker will chop it up in segments. It hasn't ruined the movie, it hasn't done anything, it just puts it into smaller pieces. I think it's so it can process it differently, I'm not sure. But when you go to bring those puzzle pieces down, you're going to do again the Control and the A to select all, and then you'll be dragging those, you'll see, be dragging those to the timeline. So you go, oh no, my pictures disappeared. Nope, they're there. You're just now looking at the video import. So this is the video import. What you just saw with the other pictures was the image or the picture import. First thing, I try to always remember to start with a title at the beginning of the movie. And I feel like I'm back in 3rd grade. Don't forget to put your name on your movie. This is where you put your name. You can also put it at the end, but you do want to make sure, especially if you're going to be doing student projects, that there's a name right there. If not, whose movie is this? Whose movie is that? Become a nightmare. So put your title at the beginning of your movie, and don't waste hours in here, but there's all different types of transitions that you can have for your different titles, so you can really make it look quite professional as you're done. When you're done and you've made your title, you've picked your transition, you will click on Done, Add Title to Movie. You can see it right underneath the table. So Done, Add Title to Movie. Now that becomes a puzzle piece also in our timeline. Okay, there it is, right down at the bottom, that first really small black line. That's actually the title slide. And then I have taken each image and dragged them down to that timeline in whatever order that I want. Next, if you look back up under the tasks, you have import audio or music. And Chelsea Dagger, not sure what it is, but I brought that in. Hope it's sample music or something. And you can see that it's up with the pictures but then I dragged it down on its own line. You can see down on the bottom it says audio or audio music. I always just say wherever it wants to go, let the music go there. Sometimes it's on audio and sometimes it's on audio music. I can't explain it. Within Windows Movie Maker, you can only have one track of music. So you can't have narration, then a little music, narration. If you want to do that, you actually have to go create your music over in something like Audacity. So you can have it, mix it up a little bit more. This is really kind of a bare bones video production, but it works. And back to the whole point, it's free. Okay, so now we have our slides. We have our pictures. Now, there's no change from this slide, from what the view that you're seeing here and the slide that you saw before that were just little skinny lines. All I've done is if you look right above the pictures on the bottom timeline, there's a little magnifying glass, that a plus and a minus. So you don't change your show, you just change your view by clicking either the plus or the minus. And so that's all I've done between the two slides. Now next, you can see that song goes on and on and on and on and on, but my pictures end right there. So got a couple choices. I can stretch my picture to take up more of the music time, or I can chop my music. So I've decided to chop my music. And so you put that blue line, really important to understand, is called the playhead. I don't know, the playhead, for some reason that's what it's called. Put your playhead where you would like to chop or cut your music. And then, let's go back for a minute. And then what you do is you right click and say split at playhead. If you don't want to right click, if you look over to the right, underneath the picture, there is a dotted line down the middle and two rectangles. And that's also the icon to split that. So what it's going to do is it's going to split right at the playhead that music. And now we can treat that music as two separate pieces. So you can see I want to keep the beginning piece, but I want to get rid of the rest of it. So now it's sliced and diced and cut up. There's going to be this nice little line down the middle. Just highlight the piece that you don't want, right click, and delete. Now I only have that little bit of music in there. The other thing you can do so the music doesn't just stop abruptly is you can also right click and fade out, and it will actually fade the music out, because you're going to see what we're going to do is go into the movie. This is an appropriate clip out of something. I'm not quite sure what it is. But what we do is bring in the clip, and when you bring it down to the timeline, the audio that comes with the clip comes down with it. And you see that that audio went to a different line. It doesn't matter. So we've now cut off our music, the Chelsea, whatever that is, and now we have our video clip that has its own sound with it. Be careful. There are video transitions. Yes, there are. But less is always more, and especially in this program. You can put in transitions, but very often it throws off the timing that you might like listen to a song and time everything. Throws off the timing, but it also can cause your computer to lock up or freeze. So let's go back to the cardinal rule of making a movie with this program. All your media is in one folder. One folder without subfolders. Just one folder. I cannot stress that enough. Everything's in one folder. So if you can, try to stay away from transitions. My warning. I also don't use the video effects. I know some people like that fade in, that fade out kind of thing. Again, with this program, because of its tendency to lock up and so on, I just tend to stay far away. But it's up to you. Okay, critical. As you are going through and you're working on your project, you need to be saving your project almost every move you make. I mean, what I just built was obviously not anything that's going to win any awards. But save your project, save your project, save your project, and now you're finally at the point that you're done and you want to create a movie that you can then put anywhere on the basically anywhere on the internet. So to do that, you're going to not select recordable CD, you're going to select My Computer. Right there, you see that? You're going to save to My Computer. Even if we're going to upload it or save it somewhere later, we want to have a copy of the movie before we'd save it to the web and so on and so forth. So save it, My Computer, and then you're going to hit the Next button. Stop right here. Right here. You got to make sure you put it back into the folder, the same folder. If you don't change that number 2, it's going to go disappear and you'll be all upset and you can't find your video and it's in the video folder. And so just remember, every piece of this project goes back into that folder. Now, as a note here, you cannot save that folder onto a flash drive. You should be able to. Technically, it should work, but you really should be saving it onto a folder that is on the hard drive of the computer you're working on. I can't explain some things in life, but this is one of those. Trust me, okay? Trust me. Save it into a folder on this computer. Save all the pieces. Then it starts to save your movie. It is now taking all the pieces, all the elements, and it is putting it all together. This final movie, you can't go back and edit, but the project, you can go back and edit. So the project is, hey, I'm still working. The movie is finalized. Okay, yay, you were successful because you listened to me and you put everything in one folder. If you had not listened to me, somewhere along your process, you might have these giant red X's. That means your media is not where it was when you started to build. I call it the dreaded red X. Sometimes you can save your project and sometimes you can't. So if you experience the dreaded red X, you have to go find what media you lost and you have to put it back into the original folder. So what happens a lot is people go out, use their flash drive at home and go find images. Well, then they come in and they bring the images in from the flash drive, not taking them to the flash drive and then to the folder. You have to originate everything in that folder and don't move that folder until after you go through this process of saving the final movie. Trust me, trust me, trust me. Now, here's the exciting part, is once you go through that whole save thing, it now can be played in Windows Media Player. So Windows Media Player, it can play it, you can save it, it can go to Mac, PC, upload it to YouTube. It has taken it out of that project mode and actually created it as a movie that can then be moved around. It's probably going to be too big to email, but you can upload it to different sites and things like that. So, if you promise to listen to me and keep everything in one folder, no subfolders, you're going to be wonderfully successful. Once you go through this process one time, you will understand how easy this is to create and build your own movies. So, good luck. Remember the tips that I've given you. I'm going to cross my fingers. I know you can do it. Go make a movie. Thanks.